Hello, everyone. This is Omar from the third rail. I was watching Mahdi Hassan interview with our friend Matt Taibbi. Matt Taibbi, I had a lot of respect for him before. He wrote a lot of books, and he was the anti-media, anti-establishment individual, anti-filthy rich. I mean, he would tell it like it is, and I don't know what happened. Maybe I'm going to be honest with you. Maybe his mortgage got high, or maybe he needed the money because once you taste that money, it's unbelievable. My personal take is anybody who goes on Joe Rogan, if he's lucky, he's going to survive before he becomes a grifter. Because after that, you pick up all these. Anyway, he goes on the Mehdi Hassan show on MSNBC, and he destroys him. Mehdi Hassan, he's a graduate of Oxford. He used to do debates on Oxford University. Anyway, let's just start listening to what he has to say. This is our friend Matt Taibbi. Oof, I look so beautiful. Sorry. This is my Taibbi in front of the Congress. Listen what he has to say. The biggest work.
Aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, that was obviously a very serious issue, but this Twitter file story and what we're looking at now and what we're investigating now, I don't think there's any comparison. This is by far the most serious.
Okay, you heard what he just said? He said that he investigated the 2008 collapse of the banking collapse, and it was the Great Depression. Almost the United States almost collapsed economically, and he did a good book, and he wrote a 10,000 word I think essay on it, and he showed how greed and bank greed. He's saying that the Twitter files are worse than that. I didn't see nothing on Twitter files. Here you go.
Serious thing that I've ever looked at, and it's certainly the most grave story that I've ever worked on personally.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yes, the Twitter files, quote unquote. 19 releases of select internal Twitter documents provided to Taibbi and other reporters and activists after the social media site was acquired by tech billionaire Elon Musk, remember him? Which made seemingly explosive claims about the politicized blocking of the Hunter Biden story, as well as allegations that Twitter shadow banned conservative accounts without cause. According to Musk and Taibbi and his reporting colleagues and the Republican House majority, those files show Twitter colluding behind the scenes with feds, NGOs, and yes, Democrats to silence critics. A new woke...
You know why you could tell us bullshit? Because what they did is the Twitter files, they went after the workers, like the Indian HB1 visa workers, the people who worked. They never went after Jack Dorsey, who's the CEO and owner of Twitter. You know why? Because he's friend with Elon Musk. They never mentioned his name. Oh, he was not responsible. Oh, he didn't know what was going on. Anyway, what the hell was going on? What is Twitter? Twitter's a social media bullshit. So what did they say? You're going to see how he's going to dismantle him. I feel sorry for Matt Taibbi. I really, really love this man. And I had a lot of respect. I used to be a subscriber to his, I think it was Useful Idiots. So, and I used to pay every month. I wanted to help him out with Katie Halper. But it's amazing what money could do to a person.
McCarthyism through digital censorship.
Here we go.
Democrats used to care about protecting First Amendment free speech rights, too. Now it's like, okay, if you're attacking, and I said this on the House floor, I said, don't think they won't come for you. Oh, the big tech, big media.
This is the most corrupt piece of shit in Washington. Go ahead.
Cancel culture. They may come for Republicans and conservatives now, but the mob is never satisfied. They will keep coming.
But critics say the Twitter files don't come close to making that case, and that they also are a product of questionable journalistic ethics, gifted to Taibbi and others by a billionaire with access and a right-wing political agenda, and then rapidly weaponized by conservative media with little regard for the facts.
The Republicans have brought in two of Elon Musk's public scribes to release cherry-picked, out-of-context emails
like
and screenshots designed to promote his chosen narrative, Elon Musk's chosen narrative.
It's so embarrassing to have Matt Taibbi there. Matt, what did you do, man? I hope Matt already got a lot of money out of it. He used to have 600,000 followers. Now it's 2 million. He has tens of thousands of followers on Substack. One thing about right-wing media or followers, they're going to give you their money. They give money. I don't know how. They just give. He was not making money being right and truthful. Like me, my channel doesn't make a lot of money because I'm not going with that bullshit. Oh, I'm a right-winger and I hate all that bullshit because I can't be a liar. You know, I don't hate anybody, but I cannot lie and pretend that the right-wing media and the right-wing movement is a safe and healthy movement. It's not.
Narrative that is now being parroted by the Republicans. because the Republicans think that these witnesses will tell a story that's going to...
That's what we are going to debate today.
Because
in some ways, Matt Taibbi has become the man of the moment. With nearly 2 million Twitter followers, tens of thousands of paid subscribers to his Substack blog, and Republican lawmakers hanging on his every word, the man who used to gleefully heap abuse on the outrage industrial complex on Fox.
He used to hate Fox News. Look, now he's there every day. If you want to know, the Joe Rogan is the mothership of the fucking grift movement. Tulsi Gabbard, once he went there, all of a sudden she's on Fox News. Jimmy Dore, he goes there, all of a sudden he's on Fox News. Every time Glenn, what's that guy? Glenn something, I don't know, is it Glenn Greenwald, the guy in Brazil? He's now all of a sudden, he's all of a sudden a truth teller. He's always with fucking Tucker Carlson. They have nothing in common. All of a sudden he's a grifter. Dave Rubin is another grifter. Every single person that goes to the mothership called Joe Rogan comes out a grifter. If I go there and he interviews me even for 30 minutes, I'm bound to pick up tens of thousands of followers. People get such a big bump out of Joe Rogan. It's unbelievable. So look at Joe. I mean, it's so embarrassing to see him in this condition.
Fox now appears regularly on that very propaganda network he once so wonderfully lampooned. Oh, and that video you saw earlier of Taibbi testifying in last month's Republican-led hearing on the weaponization of the federal government, he says that on that day, the IRS visited his New Jersey home to tell him 2 years of tax returns had been rejected. We reached out to the IRS, but they say they can't comment on individual cases. So, late last month, Matt Taibbi asked me on Twitter, where else, to invite him on the show to debate the Twitter files and free speech and Elon Musk. Now, I've mocked him in the past for doing PR work for the world's richest man, and he's accused me of being an ardent establishment moralist. Great line. But today, I hope we're going to avoid the name-calling and keep it civil as I put my questions to him. Matt Taibbi, a National Magazine award-winning journalist who runs the Racket News Substack and broke the so-called Twitter file story, joins me now. Matt, thanks so much for coming on the show. Why do you believe...
He's already shook.
These Twitter files are so important, and what should our viewers know about what's in them that they don't know? Just briefly, your top lines.
First of all, I never said anything about woke McCarthyism, so do you want to take that back?
I didn't put that in quotes. I said a so-called...
Already started being petty. Did you call me McCarthyism? Answer the question. What was so special on Twitter, man?
Woke McCarthyism. Jim Jordan has also talked about that, and that was a line into Jim Jordan. But happy to say that you haven't described it as McCarthyism. You've described it, I think, as a digital censorship complex. A digital, sorry,
digital McCarthyism, not woke McCarthyism.
Okay, digital McCarthyism. All right. You can correct that. Yes.
Okay, good. So you started off as I expected with the whole "What happened to you, man" routine. Well done.
Me too. What happened to you, man?
These are, I think, the rest of the stories speak for themselves. I don't have to talk about how important or not they are.
So why the fuck did you come on TV? Of course we want to know what's important. Let's see what you found out. He already saying, well, I don't have to. This speaks for itself. Nothing is all a fucking scam, man. I'm sorry to say that, Matt.
Audiences are interested in them because of what they show. That there was
an
organized, systematic structure in place for the FBI and the DHS to talk not just to Twitter and to forward thousands of moderation requests to companies like Twitter, but also to virtually every other social media platform. This is essentially an organized system of quasi-state censorship, and it's alarming. It's a lot more than what we thought was going to be there. And again, people are just looking at what we found. We don't have to
show you, man.
Make claims about it. They're upset about it because of what they're reading.
Educated.
Well, not everyone's upset, and you do make claims, so let's talk about that today. And Matt, we're going to disagree a lot today. You've already started with disagreement, so let's start with some agreement. Should the FBI be wasting so much time?
Drink water. Look at he's thirsty as fuck. I'm going to slow it down. I want to hear this, man. I hope MSNBC don't take me to court. But Mehdi, I love Mehdi, man. Go ahead.
Tagging so many tweets to Twitter, in my view, no. Does the FBI have far too cozy a relationship with social media companies? Yes, I agree. But do your files provide evidence of government censorship? I don't think so. Let's just take the very first example you cited in the very first thread, which went mad viral. You wrote, by 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back, handled. Now, that sounds bad, but aside from the fact that the Biden team was not the government at the time, it turns out that at least 3, maybe 4 of those 5
you got to take it into consideration. In 2020, the Biden was not president, so it has nothing to do with government. He was just running for office. So there is no governmental overreach, or they're trying to force him. But listen, what they wanted them to take out. You gotta pay attention to the detail. That's why Matt Taibbi is a fucking piece of shit grifter now.
Tweet URLs. that you linked to, that they linked back to non-consensual nude images of Hunter Biden. Why was it wrong, Matt, for the Biden campaign, not the government at the time, to ask Twitter to enforce its own terms of service against people basically posting revenge porn?
Water, man. Get the water.
Why people question your credibility on this whole project when you omit such crucial context right from the get-go?
First of all, the reason that's important is because the ordinary person can't just call up Twitter and have something taken off.
Okay, the question was, why was it important that for Twitter to withhold the nude pictures of Hunter Biden? We have no business seeing how big his dick is. That was the question. Don't deflect. Don't be a fucking grifter, man.
Twitter. If you put something nasty about me on Twitter, I can't just call up Twitter and talk to the government liaison, whose name I won't mention on the air, and say, hey, can you take care of this? And have them take care of that. That doesn't work for the ordinary person. The Biden campaign could do it. Donald Trump.
He asked you about revenge porn. He didn't ask you that you could call. I'm sure if the term of service, you got some nude pictures of yourself, they're illegally there, you could actually report it to Twitter. Twitter will take it down. Then I don't know what's going on now. Now it's fucking no man's land.
I could do it, but I can't do it. Can you do it? I don't think so.
You didn't answer my question. Why didn't you tell us what were in the URLs? Because it sounds much worse than it is. When you discover that actually it was simply a violation of Twitter's terms of service, that these were nude, non-consensual images for Hunter Biden, why not mention that? Did you not know? In which case, that's kind of incompetent. Or did you know and you were just hiding it from people?
Incompetent?
I mean, if you didn't know, if you put up
MSNBC. My God, you got 6 consecutive years of just screw-ups.
You see how you know? Incompetent? You're MSNBC. See the laugh at Mehdi's face? He know he's going to get him. He know he has him cornered. You know why? Because Matt Taibbi is not a good grifter yet. He's still learning at it. He's new at it. And I think he has some sense of, I think he still has some sense of integrity. And he feels like he fucked up. But the money's too good. The money's too good. I'll do the same thing if I get 2 million followers and 10,000 Substack paying customers. I walk around naked if you want me to. But it's a shame. He has fallen from grace. It's a shame, man.
Well, that was predictable. If we're going to do predictable. Can you answer the question? Did you know what was in the URLs when you posted them? It's a simple question.
What was in the URLs?
Why didn't you tell us?
I don't need to.
Because it's relevant. You don't think it's relevant that it's a violation of Twitter's terms of service to have nude pictures of Hunter Biden up?
Look, every time they make a request to Twitter, they're doing what you're arguing. They're making the argument that,
here you have it right now. He's saying that he exposed the Biden administration of ordering Twitter to move some stuff out of Twitter, but he would not tell us that it had to do with pictures of Hunter Biden's pictures of being naked. It has no newsworthy. It's not like some intelligence or something of importance. But he did not tell us that. He just said, well, the Biden campaign was asking for favors from Twitter. But he was not telling us what they were asking for. They were asking for them to remove pictures of Hunter Biden's dick pictures that it goes against the TOS of terms of service of Twitter. So, but look how shaken he is, man.
We're not actually asking. This isn't censoring. This is just the government pointing out that
that's what the emails show that you posted. They don't demand anything, do they? They say, can you check if this is in line with your terms of service? And those URLs weren't. So I'm wondering why you wouldn't mention that.
First of all, the government, I can't even report that yet.
Get the guy some water.
It's self-evident what they're doing, and I don't have to make claims about what it is. I can just show you.
Well, you did an expose. That's what it's all about. Show us what they were asking for. You can't tell us they were asking for favors from Twitter, but not tell us what those favors are. That's what reporting. I'm not a reporter, but does that make sense or not? Come on, Matt.
What they're doing.
Get some water.
You didn't, Matt. That's the problem. You didn't show the world that the Biden campaign asked for nude images. You didn't. Other people pointed out what those URLs were. You never did. And that's the problem, Matt. There's a lot of omission.
There's a lot of things that I wrote. Am I going to describe every single thing that I published?
But that was a big thing.
That was the first Twitter file and the most viral tweet. Noam Chomsky.
That was a big thing. That was a viral tweet. That was like the most important thing, that the Biden campaign was asking for a favor from Twitter. As you know how these Democrats and Twitter workers had this thing, Kahoot, to do things together. Can you take the pictures of my son's dick pictures? They didn't even say that. Doesn't it go against the TOS of Twitter to have porn, revenge porn of somebody? That's all it was. But Matthew will tell you that. That's why Matthew, a grifter,
who you know and I know,
By the way,
we
which
like,
is about a subject you guys screwed up.
said one of the, and we'll come back to that, has said one of the greatest forms of censorship in the media is censorship by omission.
Get him some water. Drink some water.
There's a lot of omission in the Twitter files.
Get him
A
some
lot you and
water.
your colleagues don't tell us. You mentioned in passing, for example, in your very first thread that the Trump White House made requests of Twitter too, i.e. the actual government, not the Biden campaign. But you didn't tell us what those Trump requests were. It took an actual Twitter whistleblower. Well, it took an actual Twitter whistleblower in front of Congress to reveal that Trump once demanded Twitter take down a mean tweet about him from the model Chrissy Teigen. Yet you didn't mention that in any of your Twitter files posts.
Because I didn't have that story. I don't have it.
Doesn't that tell you something? That you had the Biden story and not the Trump story? That Elon Musk was giving you one side of the story?
No, you don't understand. First of all, that first batch of files resulted in the firing of Twitter's general counsel. We were looking at something.
You were looking at something. You're not understanding the whole situation.
We didn't have it. I went out of my way to report that fact. I was the first person who reported that Donald Trump made requests and had them honored on Twitter.
But you outlined which ones the Biden team did without giving full context, but you didn't outline which ones the Trump. Well, maybe you should ask yourself why it is you didn't have it. Let me ask you this. A lot of your own Twitter files reporting shows top Twitter employees
They don't have it either, by the way. The whistleblower in Congress didn't have it either.
I know, but she did say under oath that this actually happened, so you can accuse her of what you want later.
I don't have to accuse them.
So it sounds like you are. Out of interest, Matt, the emails you show really difficult content moderation decisions. They don't show Twitter rolling over. They show people actually having really interesting discussions, unlike now where Elon Musk just dictates that NPR is state-affiliated and it happens overnight. They also show Twitter resisting requests to things that members of Congress have asked them to take down, members of the FBI. So I wonder, how do you call this a censorship industrial complex when Twitter, according to your own files, is saying no a lot of the time? I mean, if it was censorship, they'd have just rolled over every time Agent Chan of the FBI or Congressman Adam Schiff made a demand, but they didn't.
I published an explicit tweet which describes Twitter's internal ads policy, where they say publicly, we are going to represent that we make these decisions at our sole discretion. Internally, we are going to act when the U.S. intelligence agency, the U.S. intelligence community, that's the quote, when the U.S. intelligence community determines that an account is linked to a foreign malign threat actor. So they're talking about their two-phase system in the document. Now, yes.
But your words, Matt, you say, to their credit, they turned down requests. You say it yourself. Those are your words in the Twitter files.
Yeah, they did, but this is a story that has multiple layers to it. The government is constantly applying pressure to these companies. It starts with a baseline of them not wanting to be engaged at all with the government, or to have a very limited relationship. The door gets kicked open when in 2017, particularly in the fall of 2017, when the Senate Intelligence Committee starts leaning on Twitter to endorse their accusations that there had been a substantial number of bots linked to Russia's Internet Research Agency. And essentially, it was made plain to Twitter that they would both be subject to lots of bad press and perhaps increased regulation if they didn't communicate with the Senate Intelligence Committee in the way that they wanted.
But communicating is not rolling over, Matt. All I'm saying is I don't see the evidence. If I saw evidence, they didn't. Adam Schiff says take down a tweet, and they don't, according to your own files.
What's Adam Schiff going to do? Is Adam Schiff the CIA? Is the CIA going to come?
But when you were in front of the congressman, he said Adam Schiff was asking for favor as a way to try to demonize that the Democrats were asking for favor. Matt, you sold out, man. I'm telling you. He has nothing to say. He's not defending anything. He's like, anyway, all those files, we don't know I didn't even know what they're all about. He just got files and he just tweeted them. It was not a story. It was not an expose you could read like a newspaper or magazine expose of what the Twitter files. We don't know what the hell he was doing. As a matter of fact, the biggest piece of shit, Barry Weiss, whatever her name was, she left. She knew they were being used. She said, no, I'm not going to be part of this shit. And she's the biggest piece of shit there is. She is worse than Matt Taibbi from before. But, Matt, he doesn't have any integrity at all. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel sorry for him that he built so much just to lose it all in one over some guy named. It's the money, man. It's all the money.
Going to come to Twitter and say,
so do you have evidence? So do you have evidence that the CIA demanded a tweet got taken down and they did it immediately? I haven't seen it.
I gotta listen to this slowly.
We think it's the CIA, quote unquote, other government agencies.
You think it is?
We know that the CIA was present.
You think it's the CIA? You began the interview saying you don't make claims; it's just evidence. Okay, let's talk about your evidence, Matt. Because as I say, people
quote me directly if you're going to do this. Quote me directly.
What am I quoting? You just said this. We think it's the CIA. I said I haven't seen a single Twitter file where the CIA tells Yoel Roth to take it down.
We showed reports that came through the Foreign Interference Task Force. We know it came through the FBI. We know that's the destination by which it came. But the origin of the document, we couldn't determine because, and there's lots of these. We have hundreds.
There are lots of these. And Twitter doesn't deny that they take stuff down, right? Twitter put out a report in
Caroline. And you're going to let me answer the question? Because you're accusing me of getting this wrong. So these documents, I went out and I talked to every former intelligence person from every agency that I could to try to identify where these documents came from.
Give him some water.
And I ended up quoting, I think I quoted John Kiriakou, and
his mouth is dry
I think one other person is saying that looks about right. Because
how dry his mouth is, he knows he's being punished right now.
The people that I talked to thought that this was probably a CIA document. They thought that it looked like that. It could have been from some other agencies, but I did what I put the document up and I said, this is what it looks like. This is what these people thought it was. I reported that other people talked about OGA. That's. And
I'm not, Matt. Just to be clear, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing any of that. I'm saying there's no evidence that the government is ordering Twitter to take a bunch of stuff down, and Twitter's agreeing to everything. Twitter. Hold on. Let me finish. I let you finish. Let me finish. Twitter put out a report in 2021, as you know, which must shut down a transparency report where they said the government asked us to take stuff down, and we took down 40% of what we were asked to take down. They've never denied that they take stuff down. Yeah, I think it's serious. I think if you were right, it would be 100%. The fact that it's not 100%, the majority of stuff they turn down, doesn't tell me there's a censorship complex. I don't understand how it. Do I think it's serious that they take down 40% of stuff? Maybe, but that's not. Nothing you showed suggests. In fact, the agent from the FBI sent emails saying, "Hey, do you mind taking this? Do you mind looking at this and seeing if it's in line with your terms of service?" That is not the police state that I think is being painted by Jim Jordan. By the way, you said about factual inaccuracies, Matt. Let's talk factual inaccuracies. Stanford. You talk a lot about the Election Integrity Project in the Twitter files, which Stanford and the University of Washington founded to monitor attacks on our elections. And you say some stuff about them that a lot of your critics say is not true, and that affects your credibility. You said the EIP was founded in response to the government dropping its proposal for a disinformation governance. Well, there you are. We're quoting you on screen. It wasn't. It was formed 2 years earlier. You suggest it was government funded, even though during the 2020 election that you're covering, it wasn't. You say they labeled 22 million tweets as misinformation in the run-up to the 2020 vote.
Got the receipts. You got the receipts.
They flagged 3,000 election misinformation tweets for labeling, so you were only 21,997,000 off.
Drink that water,
and
Matt.
you also claim the EIP...
Some water,
let me finish the question. You can come back in. You also claim the EIP was partnered with the government cybersecurity and infrastructure agency, CISA, to censor Twitter. But you mix up CISA, CISA, a Homeland Security agency, with the Center for Internet Security, the CIS, which is a non-profit. In fact, you added an A to CIS. I think people can see it there in brackets to make that false claim. It's just error after error, Matt, on just this one topic.
He's fucking up, Matt.
But the other ones aren't.
What other ones? There is no other ones.
22 million number came from their own report.
Yeah, it came from a report in March. Do you know what the 22 million number is, Matt? Can you tell me? Because we checked. 22 million is the number of tweets about election misinformation that they just mapped. How many tweets were they? The ones they actually flagged to Twitter before the election, 22 million came after the election. It wasn't in the run-up. They flagged 3,000. So you were off by 21,997,000. That's another error.
They've said a lot of things. I stand by my story.
You stand by what story? You stand by 22 million were flagged in the run-up to the election, even though that number came in March 2021, which was after the election.
No, this came in their report after the election.
Which was about some total of tweets that they counted on the election. What they flagged to Twitter was 2,980 tweets, I believe. So that's nowhere near 22 million.
Come
on, what? You got something wrong. You got CISA wrong. Why did you add A? Okay, Matt, why did you add A in square brackets? Do you understand why people worry about?
I actually thought that.
And why didn't you fix it? I just checked the tweet before I came on air. It's been 3 weeks since it was flagged to you. Why not fix it? Do you not have editors at the racket?
I didn't realize that until now.
Okay, and what about the date? You got the date wrong when it was found. You said it was founded in response to the disinformation board. That was last year.
Well, because Stamos is saying in the video that we were sort of created to fill the gaps.
But no, that's not what you say in the tweet. That's not what you say in the tweet.
The SIO was created in 2008.
No. You say, this is what you say, that the EIP was created after the public uproar paused the disinformation board. That's wrong. You need to correct that as well, don't you?
Yeah.
After the...
That's what your words. You said, to quote you, after public uproar paused the Orwellian Disinformation Governance Board, Stanford created the EIP. That's wrong.
Well, that's what they say. You
could check. You don't need sources, Matt. You could check the EIP website. It says it was created in 2020.
Well, that's the date that I just said.
And the disinformation board was 2022.
Okay. All right. Well, then that is an error.
Get some water.
Okay. So let's talk about Elon Musk. Let's talk about Twitter files. You
Let him drink water.
About why you don't want to reveal that he's your source, even though he's basically outed himself as his source. I get that you don't want to reveal your source as you're a journalist, but Barry Weiss has outed him. He's outed himself. What's interesting about Elon Musk is that we checked. You've tweeted over 30 times about Musk since he announced he was going to buy Twitter last April, and not a word of criticism about him in any of those 30-plus tweets. Musk is a billionaire who's been found to have violated labor laws multiple times, including in the past few days. He's attacked labor unions, reportedly fired employees on a whim, slammed the idea of a wealth tax, told his millions of followers to vote Republican last year, and in response to a right-wing coup against Bolivian leftist president Evo Morales, he tweeted, "We'll coup whoever we want." And yet you've been silent on all of that. How did you go, Matt, from being the scourge of Wall Street, the man who called Goldman Sachs the vampire squid, to being unwilling to say anything critical at all about this right-wing reactionary anti-union billionaire?
Hello? Am I still on?
You're on. Stop pretending. You're on. You're on,
man. Never criticized Musk despite all that.
Look. So I like Elon Musk. I met him. This is part of the calculation when you do one of these stories. Are they going to give you information that's going to make you look stupid? Do you think their motives are sincere about doing X or Y? I didn't. I thought. I mean, I did. I thought his motives were sincere about the Twitter files, and I admired them. I think he did a tremendous public service in opening the files up. But that doesn't mean I have to agree with him about everything. And
I agree with you, but you never disagree with him. You've gone silent. People would say that's access journalism.
No, I haven't reported anything that limits my ability to talk about Elon Musk.
So will you criticize him today? For banning journalists, for working with Modi government to shut down speech, for being anti-union.
Okay, mind you, Modi, the Prime Minister of India, you got to know the background, is a genocidal piece of shit. By all counts, human rights, he incites violence against the Muslim minority in India. You have 200 million Indian Muslims, and he's inciting. In 2002, more than 2,000 died because he incited riots against them in India. They had a BBC documentary. Twitter and even YouTube, let's be honest, refused to let it be put on their platforms. It's all about the money at the end of the day. But he would not condemn that. He knows what Modi's doing, but he's going to play dumb. I got to look into that.
You can go for it. I'll give you as much time as you like. Would you like to criticize Musk now?
No, I don't particularly want to. Look, I didn't criticize him really before, and I think that what the Twitter files are is a step in the right direction.
Evil guy.
But it's the same Twitter that he's running right now.
I disagree with him. If you want to ask, I think.
Understood, Matt. Well, I'll ask you a specific one.
No.
It's not in bad faith, Matt. Sorry. You say that Twitter... Hold on. Let me finish my question. You're saying that he's good for Twitter and good for speech. I'm saying he's using Twitter to help one of the most right-wing governments in the world censor speech. I will criticize that. Will you?
I have to look at the story first.
But you got to look at the story. Everybody know that Mehdi, the Prime Minister of India, is one of the worst genocidal pieces of shit in India who created a virus. You don't need... I know about it, and I'm an idiot. How come you don't know about it? I gotta stop pretending you're a journalist. You don't have to be nothing but a shell.
Not looking at it now.
Hold on. I posted the story 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You tweeted at me.
I don't watch the Mehdi Hassan show.
You do. Actually, you do, because you tweeted at me saying, invite me on the show and I'll tell you my views. Here you are. What is your view? There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
This is 2 weeks ago, you see? This is the tweet about Mehdi tweeted about, I think about Elon Musk and the Indian issue. What he goes, why don't you invite me on your show to talk about it since you're absolutely sure of what I'll say? Okay, he had him. Now he says, I got to go look into it.
Yeah, and you said, look, we'll read your words. Why don't you invite me on your show to talk about it since you're so absolutely sure of what I'll say? You're right, I'm not sure. What is your view on Musk working with Modi to censor speech?
That's what you ask him about the particulars about it. But listen, this came up the first time. I think it was Twitter Files number 6.
When trilogy.
When you said after this was a big one that we had done about the relationship between Twitter, the FBI, and the DHS. And as that story came out, you were giving me a hard time about.
Okay, let's use logic. Let's take a second here. Let's take a second here for a minute. A billionaire bought Twitter for $44 billion and it's only worth $20 billion. As soon as he buys it, he does an expose about the company that he bought, that it was being censoring right-wing media or right-wing organizations. And at the same time, his friend, who does the CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, is not criticized. They go after the level workers, the workers. They have some workers who are from India, IT workers who are on B1 visas. I saw them in front of Congress. They look like they were, roadkill. The whole idea is you have to take it into consideration. What is the idea of releasing all this Twitter files? Nothing came of it. Nobody even paid attention to it. The only person who paid attention to it is the right-wing media and Musk and Matt Taibbi. I'm telling you, Barry Weiss, she's one of the worst journalists you could ever have. She's a Zionist, racist, garbage. But she has some integrity. She said, I'm not going to be part of this bullshit. I'm not going to do this guy's work for him. But Matt, look at him. He looks like a rat. When your opinion changes about somebody, you start to see other things. And I did. I'm going to tell you, I used to watch him all the time on Useful Idiots with Katie Halper, whatever her name is. She's a nice lady. And look at him. He can't defend nothing. So he looks like roadkill.
Tweeting through it, I think was the quote. Essentially, you said, you don't. So essentially, you're arguing that this information was not in the public interest, that I somehow shouldn't have done this story that I'd worked hard on.
It's not a story. What do you work hard on? You just released some
Elon
stuff.
Musk tweeted something. You don't think that story
was
was
he banned journalists? I think hold on, Matt. If you're doing a story about free speech on Twitter and the head of Twitter bans journalists, yeah, I think most people. By the way, Barry Weiss, your partner in crime on that, your colleague, your reporter. Sorry for that euphemism. Your reporting colleague. She actually did call him out. So it's weird that Barry Weiss had more integrity on that. Some might argue, your critics might say, than you did. Look, we're running out of time. You don't want to talk about India, that's fine. You can go away and research it, but you volunteered
some water.
To talk about it.
Can you get me some water?
The clip on Joe Rogan. You've seen the clip. It was it was mentioned.
See? Remember what I said in the beginning? It's the mother of the ship. Joe Rogan is everything that's going on, every grifter that grifts and was on the left or was an honest individual. As soon as you go on Joe Rogan, he picks up that bump of 100,000, 200,000 new followers, get that money going into their bank account. They can't go back. He's audience captured.
At Congress. I do want to get your response to it. Can we play the clip of you telling Joe Rogan about how you should deal with sources who give you information? Let's play that clip.
With any kind of journalist, like once you start getting handed things, then you've lost. You know what I mean? They have you at that point, and you got to get out of that habit. It's like, or you can't crossed that line.
You got addicted to it, man.
So, per your own words, Matt, you crossed that line.
I was alluding to some
the hilarity of this coming from MSNBC, which did nothing but vomit up fake Russiagate stories that came straight from the FBI for 6 consecutive years. That you guys still haven't apologized for.
Great. I wasn't there in that period, so I've got nothing to apologize. I'm asking you your words. Did you cross a line? It's a very simple question. You can what about and deflect. It's a simple question. We played a clip for you. I'm giving you a chance to answer. Did you cross the line? Your words.
You know, right wing, when you debate them on anything, you know they lost the debate when they go to whataboutism. What about Hillary Clinton? I had some guy that fucking snowflakes, Rob Lohr. He wanted to debate the Jim Crow era, that the whites were being treated now worse than the Jim Crow would. I mean, this is fucking crazy. As soon as your appointment goes to whataboutism, you know you won the argument.
Oh, I did not. The stories are self-contained stories that hold up in themselves. And what I was talking about in the Joe Rogan story, I was quoting a passage from Seymour Hersh's book,
we know where you was,
The Reporter, when he was talking about when he was given a story by the CIA.
Let me speed it up for you guys.
An Israeli spy that they had
I'm
caught.
so happy.
And he was saying something to the effect that
like
I who had always gotten the material was being handed the material. So yeah, look, it sounds bad, but this stuff is clearly in the public interest. It's real.
It is bad.
It's true.
It doesn't sound bad.
And I'm doing the best I can to report it. The question is, the test you always have with your sources is whether or not this stuff is in the public interest and whether it's accurate. And apparently I've gotten like one thing wrong or a few things wrong, but mostly I think these stories are going to hold up over the test of time, unlike your Russiagate story.
So let me ask you this, Matt, and you're going to say this is a bad faith question, but let me just be clear. I'm not questioning your work ethic. You keep saying, you seem to be offended. I'm sure you work very hard. I was a big fan of yours for many years. I've always admired your writing. And I have to ask this last question, which you're going to say in bad faith, but I promise it is. It's genuinely as a former fan. You tweeted in response to Jim Jordan, and you started the interview saying, oh, my journey. You have been on a journey for many of us. You said it was an honor. Thank you, Chairman Jim Jordan. It was an honor. A lot of people think that sounded a bit fawning to one of the most right-wing members of Congress. Later, you meet Ted Cruz.
I don't think it's an honor to be invited to Congress.
Who calls you a true patriot. He calls you a true patriot, and you're all looking very intense in that picture. I wonder, when you met Ted Cruz, did you tell Ted Cruz how you wrote in 2015 that he has, quote, big doses of Tea Party energy, and in 2018 that he's like an incurable skin condition? Do you understand why, Matt, those people who have read your stuff find it amazing now, the people you are?
Ted Cruz knows what I've written about him over the years. He knows that I talked about him as, I described him as having a face like a waterlogged Reagan mask sewn together at gunpoint. He knows all that stuff, but that's the point. This is America. We don't have to agree all the time. I don't have to like them these people all the time. They're on this issue. They're giving oxygen to something.
He's fucking dry. His fucking mouth is dry as fuck, man. He needs some water. Look at him.
That I think is important, that I think a lot of people is important. And if he wants to meet me, that's fine. If Jim Jordan wants me to come talk in front of Congress, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to answer questions. If I'm wrong about something, I'm happy to answer that too. But
I guess where we disagree is
that I'm committing some kind of a capital offense by testifying in Congress about my own reporting,
writing, what you said about
answering
people.
questions factually, and meeting these people is ridiculous.
I guess where we disagree, Matt.
It is an honor to talk to Congress. It was an honor to talk to Congress, and
an honor to talk to Congress. It's an honor. You know, you don't want to. You
not
hated
every
them.
congressional committee is an honor to appear in front of. I'm pretty sure it wasn't an honor to be invited when people were invited to the House Un-American Activities Committee. I mean, this is the point, Matt. The context. We're out of time, sadly, but the context is that the Republicans, are banning books and threatening the press. Ron DeSantis is threatening to get rid of anonymous sources.
Again,
and you're
mentioning something that I didn't write about. How many things
I didn't say you wrote about it. Well, exactly. That's the problem, that you seem to think the Democrats, not the Republicans, are a big threat to speech, and I just don't see it. I wish we had more time to get into that.
Democrats
but we spent a lot of time.
Are you crazy? I mean, you don't think the Democrats are a threat to speech? Have you been paying attention to
Yes, I think all politicians are a threat to speech. But in this country, if you think the Republican Party is not the biggest threat to speech, then I don't know what to say to you. Maybe you should log off a bit and go to Florida. We have to disagree on that. I think I think the black voter who was arrested in Florida, or the woman arrested for taking an abortion pill, might not say that Cat Turd 2 being de-amplified was the biggest story of the year. But we will have to leave it there, Matt. Thank you for appearing on the show.
What about the Hunter Biden story?
Appreciate your time. I don't think I've ever
What about that
Biden story? So maybe you should apologize to me for putting words in my mouth. You said at the beginning I put words. I never said a word about the Hunter Biden story, but we will be right